Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Painting with Parker. Carl, say hi.
Hi.
Turn around, wave. This is the studio. It's a mess, but this is where the magic happens. You've got to excuse him. He's a temperamental artist, so things get messy at times. There it is. And here's Carl. And today, what are you going to paint for us today, Carl?
Flowers.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
I'm going to do impressionist type flowers.
Okay.
And, yeah.
So why the flowers?
Oh, I feel flowers are my strongest work.
Hmm.
And I think they're probably my favorite to paint.
Okay. So what color have you got there?
Alizarin crimson.
That's an interesting brush. It looks like a fan. Can you tell us about
It's
that?
a fan, yeah. I use the fan pretty much all of the time.
Why is that?
Because I find for the type of impressionist work I do that the strokes come out right for me.
Okay. So how do you get your ideas?
I'm self-taught, but for a long time when I was letting my style develop, I would look at some of the old masters like some of the painters of the past, and so I would put the time in on my own to study their work, and so then over time I allowed my own style to come out after studying this work, and I wanted it to be impressionism type work, and some of my stuff has an abstract quality, and so yeah, that kind of all just came out and formed. And so as for ideas, I just paint what I want. So and oftentimes my mood is flowers.
See.
Yeah.
So what is it about Impressionism that appeals to you? As opposed to, say, realism?
Because it has a certain looseness involved, and I just happen to be that type of painter. I have that type of brain that wants the looseness as I paint.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of flow. Yeah. Where I enjoy where when a viewer's looking at work, and I find it interesting that their eye has to do more work to see what's going on, right? As opposed to like if it was realism, you kind of just know right away. Okay, well that's but the eye has to spend more time on impressionism, right?
Right.
to really see what's going on. So that's cool to me. Okay, background, yes. Background. We're going to use unbleached titanium.
Okay.
I'm actually out of yellow ochre right now, so I'm going to use this.
Okay.
Now this you tend to want to mix this later somewhat because it's sort of it almost has like a transparency that I don't really like.
Okay.
So I'll end up mixing it with another color. And this by itself is actually quite a boring color. We don't want to do boring paintings, do we?
No, we don't.
What's the good in that, right? Who's going to want to collect a boring painting? Maybe a crazy person. Maybe a person who doesn't understand art. Art should have emotion. Really, that's the truth of it. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Why do you say that?
Well, in terms of original paintings, they should always have emotion. And the reason for that would be that's what separates it from great art and art that isn't so great. Right? So. And it should have a certain honesty that occurs with the painter, like he or she is being honest with their mood that day when they're doing a piece. So it's this combination of that honesty and the artist's emotion. That day he painted that, and it's all kinds of stuff. So.
When you say honesty about their mood that day.
Well, okay. Say my mood right now was like somewhat sad and melancholy. Well, that's with me because I always try to be honest with my painting. Like this, if my mood was as such, this piece will probably reflect that to some point, right?
So if a person is in a sad or melancholy mood, or a negative, another type of negative mood, angry, whatever, can they still produce a good painting?
Oh, of course. Yeah, a person may come out with like say like as they say, a violent seascape, but that absolutely doesn't matter. If it comes out to be like a great piece of art. And there are actually painters that way. There are painters who are very great painters who they basically do like violent, as they say, violent seascapes, but they're great. It's great work. It's great work. So that's that honesty of that certain painter, right?
So, if I were just an average collector, would I be able to tell your mood by looking at one of your paintings?
If you're a person who can actually analyze paintings, then yes, you certainly would be able to do that.
What are you doing there?
I'm putting the red oxide over this.
In the background?
Right.
So is that what you would refer to as blending colors? Or what is this?
I'm actually doing a little bit of experimentation with the colors here. That's what I'm doing with this one actually. There's something with painting too. I'm one of those people who I never want to feel bored when I paint. So that's why I often will experiment to a point with certain colors and combinations and tones and what have you.
Is there ever a time that the experiment doesn't work out?
Oh, of course.
And then what do you do?
Not even I'm perfect. I know it's hard to believe, but just kidding. No. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah. Artists should, always experiment. See what happens. And because sometimes what happens is you have those happy accidents, right? And sometimes those are the greatest works. These happy little accidents, they call it. Let me see now. Yes, I'm going to use some raw umber. So as you can probably see, this fan is perfect for achieving that in the impressionist feel. Right?
Now, why is that? Is it because it's not so fine that it doesn't give you?
Well, it's essentially because of it doesn't have that it doesn't have a square shape.
Right.
It has a shape that's odd, right? So it's like so I can take this brush and I can move up and down or back and forth. You see, and it has that perfect. It has the perfect movement, right?
So it doesn't give you a realistic
Exactly.
image.
Exactly.
Did you ever do realism?
Yes. Way back when I was a kid. Sometimes sometimes when I would draw, then I would do some realism. So it was, so today, how about we talk about some of our favorite impressionists of the past. One of my favorites is Van Gogh.
Why?
He had his own style, and people should respect that. I mean, that has artistic value in itself. If a painter actually has his own style, or her style, but you have to respect that. I mean, that's not easy to just happen to have your own recognizable style. That's something that actually a lot of artists cannot achieve. They can't seem to do that. And so that's one reason I like his work. And another reason is you can see his honesty as a person in his work, and for instance how he had a lot of emotional problems and whatever, and you look at any of his paintings, you see it right off, and that's the honesty I talked about. And I mean, if art isn't honest, what's the point?
Right.
Really, then it's just something. It's just if it doesn't have honesty to the painter, who he is in it, then it just kind of lays there. It just kind of lays on the canvas. It doesn't speak.
So you say he had emotional problems, and you could see it on the canvas.
I can look at any of his paintings and I see it right off.
So are you saying you have to be crazy to be a great artist?
No, of course not.
Are you crazy?
No, I'm not crazy, but but no, you don't have to be crazy, of course, but you do have to dig. The artist has to dig, right? And so yeah, I mean, it's paintings are not all about something that's pretty, something that looks good above your couch. It's actually it's not all about that. It's about various moods that various artists may have on that particular day. It's
Right.
So I mean, there are famous paintings out there, for instance, where a certain type of brain would think, "Oh wow, that's so ugly. That's like a horrible, ugly painting." But it's not, though. It still has beauty. It has artistic beauty. It has that complexity there's something going on